And this knife is from Condor Knife and Tools. It's the Terrasaur. Kind of interesting name there. Specs on this knife, we got a overall length of 8.8 inches. The blade is 4.2 inches at 3 millimeters thick. This is 1095 high carbon steel, and the handle's made out of a high impact polypropylene. All right, looking at the blade profile, you can see that there is a slight drop. It almost looks like it's horizontal. It doesn't drop a whole lot. And that tip, this is one thing that I like about this knife personally, is this tip drops to just above center line with the knife. Now when it drops to center line, I like that style of knife too. And they yield themselves really well to drilling tasks and just really knowing where the tip of your knife is at. But I kind of like it to be just a little above that center line, because what that does is it lets you have it higher for batoning tasks. You don't have a ton of length in here, so you're not batoning anything crazy, but it does make this a little more efficient at batoning. Once you start dropping that spine downward more, your hits with the baton are starting to fall, or that they're not transferring energy as much. It's subtle, but I like knives, and so those subtle things are cool. And so that's one thing I like about this knife, is that tip drops almost to center line, but not quite. What that also does is it gives you a good amount of straight edge before it starts to curve. I like having a lot of straight edge for woodworking. The more belly you have in a knife, the more you can use it for skinning tasks and dressing animals and things like that. But the majority of my tasks often involve wood, and so I'm happy to have the compromise there to have it be less effective at those tasks and more effective at what I do most, which is working with wood. This blade profile is a nice kind of pointy, slender kind of deal, similar to what we see with the Moras. And what I like about that is it allows you to get in to those small places and do some detailed work. The handle on this, first of all, it's made of the high impact polypropylene. It's kind of a harder material. It doesn't have that tackiness and that extra grip. This is still grippy, and I still wouldn't hesitate to use it in wet conditions, but it was a little less grippy. The texturing, these little diamond patterns that are featured on both sides of it, end up being what really saves it and keeps it hanging on there. The handle shape, I actually really like this kind of handle shape. There's not much contour in it. It's pretty boring, but it's comfortable enough in use. And what I really like about a good boring handle like this is you can choke up without anything getting in the way. You can do pinch grips, you can do all kinds of grips with this, and it doesn't interfere with what you're trying to do. So I really like that. This is a full tang knife, so that steel runs all the way through it, giving it a little more structural support. A full tang isn't always necessary on a bushcraft knife. Personally, I like it, and I got two reasons for that. One, it does make it a sturdier knife, and while that's true, you're really not going to notice that very often, because unless you're almost abusing the knife, you're never going to have a problem with a partial tang knife. The other thing that a full tang knife does is, if for any reason you destroyed your handle, you still have steel running through there that you can still hang on to. It can still function as a handle, or you could wrap it in paracord, or you can even craft yourself a new handle out of what's available in the field. Now, that situation has actually never come up for me, but just the way my brain works, I like knowing that I have that option with the full tang knife, and this one has it. The sheath on the Condor Terrasaur is similar to what we've seen in the Moras, but with some interesting differences. It still has that breathable space around the blade. We got two drain holes. This is actually an ambidextrous sheath, so whether you want it right hand or left hand drawable, it clicks in there. And then instead of a molded belt loop on the back, they went with a leather loop. Good, secure, functional sheath though.